Okay, YouTube. Going live on Facebook as well. All right, all right. Peace. It's your girl, Morgan Renee Myers. Let me see if I turn this off. Can y'all still see me that way? I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to leave it off. Yeah, I'm going to leave it off. All right. Yeah, it's late night on a early Wednesday. It's like 1 in the morning on Wednesday. But I just felt like reading. I took a nap in the sun today, and I'm energized. And so here I am. So the book that I have out is one that my roommate had purchased and has been talking about. And I think it coincides with the space that I'm in on my journey. I'm on YouTube and Facebook. YouTube down here, Facebook up here. So that's what's going on. Yeah, I think this kind of coincides with the journey that I'm on in my life with my health and my diet. So I was like, and I love reading, y'all. So here we go. The Hood Health Handbook, Volume 1, forward by Dick Gregory, edited by CB's Alife Allah and Supreme Understanding. I don't know who these people are, but, and this is only Volume 1. So I like to read the forwards and the preface and all of that. So, and because this is forwarded by Dick Gregory, I'm going to read it. But let me read some other stuff. Okay. All right. So, forward by Dick Gregory. I was born and raised knowing nothing about nutrition. For us growing up, if you got enough of whatever you liked when you were eating and it didn't run out before you were full, I consider that good nutrition. And if it ran out before you got enough of what you like, I consider that bad nutrition. There was so little information out there at the time. Even when I started searching for something better, I didn't know what that was. At that time, I was smoking 4 packs of cigarettes a day. Damn. Damn, 4 packs of cigarettes a day? Jesus. Dick Gregory? Drinking a fifth of scotch every day, and my weight was on its way up to 365 pounds. For so many years, I didn't know the things I was eating or doing were bad for me because the Ku Klux Klan didn't give it to me. My mother gave it to me. My father gave it to me. My church gave it to me. My school gave it to me. My friends gave it to me. Now, when I sit and go through my fifth of scotch every day, none of my friends or anyone close to me called me a nut because they was doing it too. When I would light cigarette after cigarette, no one called me a nut. When my weight was ballooning, nobody called me a nut. Pause. So I like to stop and interject my own opinions when I do these things. So this relates to a post that someone shared. It was a sister, and she was basically talking about the overweight issue that Black women have. And she was saying she knows she's overweight, but she's actively doing something about it. What are we as a collective gonna do about this obesity problem? And she was speaking to women, but this our Black men, just Black people as a whole, we do tend to, um, in America, just about everybody, every race got a weight condition in America. But if you just think about, we focusing on Black women and Black men, and she talked to the Black sisters, and of course there were different perspectives on that. One perspective was brought up that just like the type of lifestyle or whatever can make it real difficult, and the stress of all the Black woman go through and what she got to do and where she got to be, and that shows up in her waistline. But I'm of the mindset too that we make time for things um, that we want. And so if we want better health, if we want to look better, feel better, because for me, getting fat has not been fun. Y'all see these little rolls over here tucked back, about to get rid of them because it's not been fun. Not being able to bend over and tie your shoes comfortably or walk up stairs or be able to go to amusement parks or wear what you want to wear without having to do the waist trainer girdle thingy. It has not been a fun journey for me. So it just makes sense to be mindful, and when you know better, you got to do better. But I said all that to say the root of all of this is a lot of this stuff was passed down to us. It's what we know. It's passed down to us from our own family members, people that know and love us. This is how they operate. I've never once after the Thanksgiving or Christmases family been like, all right, let's go take a walk in the park, or let's get out our bikes, y'all. Let's like never. I've never even been on hiking trips, done played any sports, done anything with my family. We don't even talk about health and wellness. We don't even talk about until it's too late, until people start having health issues. Then that's when we want to bring it up and get on point with our diet and exercise. And even then, we falter because it's so hard because we're addicted. So let me get through this. So So now, when I sit and go through a fifth of scotch every day, none of my friends or anyone close to me called me a nut. When I would light cigarette after cigarette, no one called me a nut. When my weight was ballooning, no one called me a nut. No one says anything about it until you're too big and then it's an issue and they still might gas you up. But then as soon as you lose 50, 100 pounds, oh, you look so good. Well, how was I looking before I lost this 50 to 100 pounds? How'd y'all feel about me then? Nobody was concerned. Y'all was just accepting me because love yourself. No, there's a balance to loving yourself and having pride in yourself and actually taking care of yourself and your health. There is a difference. Then one day I went on a fast to protest the war in Vietnam, guided by one of the more brilliant minds that ever lived pertaining to health and nutrition, a brilliant black woman by the name of Dr. Fulton. When I changed my lifestyle, no more smoking, no more drinking, no more weight problem, that's when I was called a nut. All these things I was doing to destroy myself and not knowing what I was doing, and nobody ever called me a nut. But when I wanted to become healthy, then I was a nut. But the real nut is the one who's killing himself, and he doesn't know or doesn't care. People ask me now, you've been fasting for 40 years. What does your doctor think? I tell them, my doctor's been dead 30 years. Before we can talk about health in the hood, let me break something down for you. A hood is something you use to hide something. Think about the Ku Klux Klan. When they would raid at night, they would put on a hood. In America, when you get the electric chair, they don't want whoever's going to do this to sit and look at you, so they put a hood on you. When people go before the firing squad all around the world, they put a hood on you. So a hood is used to hide something. So when we refer to the ghetto as the hood, there's something we're hiding. Ooh, that's deep, y'all. Y'all got to practice studying etymology, the root of words and where they come from. That's powerful. Mm, the hood is used to hide something. Dang, we do be calling it the hood. Ooh, I don't want to call it the hood no more. So a hood is used to hide something. So when we refer to the ghetto as the hood, there's something we're hiding, from racism to sexism to the way we've been abused to insanity. And we're not even aware that it's insanity we're hiding. We have to destroy what it is we're trying to hide, and we do that by purifying the hood and getting rid of all the things that makes it so ugly you want to hide it. When we destroy this hood, it becomes a community. That's why white folk do not live in a hood. They live in a community, because in a community, your control, your economy, because in a community, you control your economy, you control your cops, you control your finances, you control your educational system, you control your health care, and that we don't. But we can. This is why, that is why this book is so important. In all my world travels, never have I picked up a book with the kind of love, concern, and information that I've seen put into this book. Money is not power. A degree is not power. Information is power. The power in this book is unimaginable. I thank the editors for taking the time and effort to teach the masses the truth about how important diet and nutrition are in the mightiest nation in the world that has never done so for their people. I've never had something in my hand that has something useful, something important, something that's been hidden from us on every page. On every page, there's something you must know. Some of you aren't even aware that you're eating bad or living unhealthy. You especially should read this book and read it over and over. I can't help but think back to the great Elijah Muhammad, who talked about how diet is just as important as liberation. After all, what good is liberation if you're headed down a path to meet the Grim Reaper? When my grandmother was alive, she didn't analyze much because she dealt with wisdom and not intelligence. When you look at the Bible, it doesn't mention intelligent and smart, it mentions wisdom. If I would put one label on this book and nothing else, I would call it great wisdom, and my grandmother would understand that. And because my grandmother trusted me like millions of other people do today, I would relate to her by saying, put this book next to the Bible. I would I wouldn't have to tell her anything else. She would know that this book is something that important for her to read. When I was a little boy in Missouri, we would listen to the news on the radio and hear about forest fires burning in California. The governor would say, if we don't get a shift in the wind, we won't be able to save it. I was born in 1932, and now it's 2010, and I've yet to read where a state all the way burned down. Obviously, the winds changed, and this shift in the wind can only come from the universal God force. When I look at the state of the health in America, particularly African Americans, I say, my God, we need a shift in the wind. Now I can say to you that I believe this book is the shift in the wind we've been waiting for. God bless Dick Gregory. Here's a little bit on Dick Gregory if you're not familiar with who he is. Dick Gregory was, it said is, but he's since transitioned, was a pioneer in both the worlds of comedy and social justice. He's one of the first performers to break the color barrier in comedy, yet he never shied away from talking about race and poverty. Through the 1960s, Gregory spent more than time on social issues and less time on performing. He has fasted and protested more than 60 times. He marched with MLK, ran for mayor of Chicago against Richard Daley, and ran for president against Nixon. In 1973, after developing an interest in vegetarianism, he became a health consultant and published Dick Gregory's Natural Diet for Folks Who Eat, Cooking with Mother Nature. That's beautiful. His social activism has continued onto recent years, including the 1990 protests at CIA headquarters over their role in the crack cocaine epidemic in black communities. In 2001, Gregory announced to the world that he had been diagnosed with a rare form of cancer. He refused traditional medical treatment and, with the assistance of some of the finest minds in alternative medicine, put together a holistic regimen which ultimately resulted in his reversing the cancer. Today, he is 100% cancer free. He and his beloved wife, Lil, have raised 10 children who have become highly respected members of the national community in a variety of fields. That's beautiful. 10 children, my God. All right. So it's the table of contents. I'm not going to read each individual thing under it, but I'll read the subheadings of each one. So you got hip hop state of emergency. We got the introduction. Are you healthy? So sick. How it all started. The wrong foods. Eating right. Healing and treatment. Stuff you'll die without. That's just nasty. Women's health. Clean house. The appendix. Okay. So disclaimer. Let's get one thing clear before we go anywhere. We're not doctors. Well, technically, Supreme Understanding, one of the editors of this book, has a doctorate, but we're not medical doctors, bound to the rules and regulations of the Western medical establishment. Then again, some of the authors are medical doctors, but just pretend they aren't either. Just treat us all like people with opinions that some people disagree with very strongly, and we're simply providing our opinions for informational purposes only. We don't hold ourselves to the code that binds many doctors to ineffective practices and corporate sponsored madness. Yet, we can't help but be bound to U.S. law, which some nut job may try to use one day to ruin our lives. We don't want anybody suing us because they think we're prescribing medicine. We're not. Or telling people to ignore their doctors and listen to us. We're not. So we've got to provide this sucky legal disclaimer. Here goes. The information provided in this book should not be construed as personal medical advice or instruction. No action should be taken based solely on the contents of this book. Readers should consult appropriate health professionals on any matter relating to their health and well-being. The information and opinions provided here are believed to be accurate and sound, based on the best judgment available to the authors, but readers who fail to consult appropriate health authorities assume the risk of any injuries. This book is not responsible for errors or omissions. All right, let's hop into it. So again, for those just tuning in, I'm reading the Hood Health Handbook, um, and it's edited by CB's Alife Allah and Supreme Understanding. So I guess it's like a conglomerate of different people's writings plus their opinions mixed in and stuff. But let's get into it. Hip Hop State of Emergency, Our Health Crisis. State of the Union Address to the Hip Hop Generation by Supernova Slum, the Hip Hop Medicine Man. Peace. Dear Hip Hop Generation, this is a call to my fellow hip hop artists, community, and generation at large. This is in all caps. Wake up. Hip hop is dying. It is in a state of emergency, and we are in an urgent health crisis. Hip hop artists are dying, our families are dying, and the hip hop generation is the first generation that may not outlive their parents. As we mourn the passing of the hip hop icon guru, now mind you, this book is hella old. This book was written, let me tell you, what year? 2010. So Yeah, it's 2022 now. As we mourn the passing of the hip hop icon Guru, I challenge all of his peers and fans to not let his death be in vain. There is no reason that Guru and so many others under 45 should be passing away at the rate that they are. Every hip hop head, sister in the club, college student, brother on the corner, G, and hustler is personally or knows someone who is battling cancer, arthritis, diabetes, asthma, hypertension, obesity, and one of many other illnesses. These illnesses are mostly caused or worsened by the foods we eat. Don't think for 1 minute that your aunties, big mamas, and parents are the only ones battling these sicknesses. African American and Latino communities lead the statistics for all of these crippling diseases, and people under 40 are being hit at younger and younger ages. You don't have to be old, poor, overweight, or live in the hood to be sick. Beyond being a hip hop artist, I am a second generation holistic health advocate. I have traveled on the road with Erica Badu as her wellness consultant, and over the years, I have encountered countless celebrities that are dealing with both minor and major ailments. And on a personal front, I am sick and tired of losing young people and reading outlandish statistics. At this point, nobody is exempt. Everyone is vulnerable to these diseases. And unless you make some immediate major changes, which incorporate healthier eating habits and lifestyle practices, you may not live to see 50. If you are living on the American diet, you are a walking, ticking time bomb, aka the sad diet, the standard American diet, all the crap we're known to eat, all the sweets and fried and dyed and processed and fake, and not even talking about just meat, everything, just all the stuff we know ain't healthy for us. Let's be clear with ourselves, okay? So if you are living on the American diet, you are a walking, ticking time bomb, ready to explode at any moment from the constant buildup of fast foods, fried foods, candy, sodas, sugar, drinks, and chemical additives that you are constantly ingesting. I am talking to you in this letter. People's number one excuse is that eating healthy costs too much. But most of these people are the same ones that spend hundreds of dollars on Jordans, Coach, Prada, car rims, and other material indulgences. When we tell these same people who may buy 2 or 3 bottles in the club to go buy a juicer, they say that it's too expensive. Or our priorities are horribly messed up when it comes to spending money and taking care of ourselves. Not Facebook talking about something that's trying to reconnect because I'm spitting that real. That's what it is. I had to tell a sister earlier who was talking about being plant based or transitioning to vegan was so hard. Well, not so hard. She was just saying it was expensive and the groceries, this and this and that. Have Creating a garden will help cut down on some of these produce expenses for one, but also you have to change your mindset about it because we will buy steaks and crab legs and whatever else we spend hella money on, but do we invest that in food? Do we invest and do we do things collectively? Do we do stuff amongst each other so that our food can spread out? Maybe somebody can be in charge of cooking, the meal for this day, somebody else for another day, somebody for another day, so that we can all, a lot of us get food stamps, so we choose to buy the chips and all this other stuff. So it's all about choice at this point. We really have to shift our mindset, change our mindset, and make better choices. So our priorities are horribly messed up when it comes to spending money and taking care of ourselves. It is easy to say, oh, we can't afford organic food, or to frown on the foods that we aren't familiar with, but we must look at the food situation in this country in the simplest and most straightforward sense. Everyone has heard the terms only the strong survive or survival of the fittest. Well, the food war being raged on the poor people in this country is ensuring that we are not fit to survive. Compare the foods that are available in poorer areas to the food that is available in richer areas. Now, that is true. Look at the menus of restaurants in well to do, trendy parts of town and compare them to the menus at the fast food joints that are plentiful in the hood. Food has been transformed into a drug which kills off the poor people in this country. It's literally modern day biological warfare and eugenics. Food is pumped up with chemicals and is force fed to a very particular group of people using colorful marketing, appealing smells, affordable prices, and the lack of options. People in the hood are masters at knowing how to stretch what is available to them and making the most of it. This has long been the root of survival, and we must apply that same thinking to healthy living. In the past, African Americans have been directly targeted, restricted, and torn down with slavery, Jim Crow, a lack of voting rights, crack, unequal schooling, and the prison justice system. We we now can add food to that list. We need to fight against their food attack in the same ways that we have organized and fought against their other racist attacks, but even harder. This fight is not just for equal access or for just conditions. This fight is literally for our lives. People have become accustomed to trying the new green shake at McDonald's or the new glow in the dark soda, and they never question what the ingredients are. But the moment that these same people are offered a vegetable that they have never seen or a healthy green juice, they want to know exactly what it is and everything that is in it. That is the type of mentality that has effectively been fed to us through advertising and marketing scheme. No one asks why chemicals are being added to foods and vegetables that were just fine without the sprays. Instead, our generation just thinks price, taste, and packaging. Just as the hip hop generation has become accustomed to defending its lives on the streets, we must defend our lives with our own food choices. With our food choices, we are always so quick to bang on each other and so slow to bang for the things that matter, such as our own lives. I recently wrote a book called The Remedy, the 5 week power plan to detox your system, combat the fat, and rebuild your mind and body. It is the first comprehensive wellness book written with the hip hop generation in mind. It features testimonies from Melissa Ford, Hype Williams, Tyson Beckford, Erica Badu, Chuck D, and Jim Jones. They share with the reader the simple things that they do to maintain healthy and active lives. I provide the step by step plan to remedy your body and work towards preventing future sickness through diet, exercise, and positive thinking. Below is a list of tips that are easy to incorporate and tools that can change your entire life. Commit to yourself and life. Decide that you want to live and feel good. Try to drink as close to a gallon of water a day as you can, and make sure it's that live alkaline water, okay? Black owned water from black owned land. Might as well buy it from the black land for those that from the black man or woman. This water comes from indigenous land out in Yakinville, North Carolina. We ship, we deliver all over North Carolina. We also have a location in the New Black Wall Street shopping center in Atlanta, Georgia, and it's just amazing, amazing alkaline spring water. It tastes great. We have these 20-ounce bottles. We also have glass bottles, gallons, and 5 gallons. And you can also get on a subscription. So you can find out more at www.heavyenergyuniversity.com. And you can also use my code MOREMY, MOREMY 21, if you want to purchase some. All right. Spilling water on myself. So it says, try to drink as close to a gallon of water a day as you can. Eat something fresh and green in every meal. Substitute the bleach products with healthy alternatives such as brown sugar, brown rice, wheat, spelt, or other whole grain flours. Cut out fried foods or at least reduce your intake to once a week. Eat your heaviest meal between 12 and 6 p.m., 12 noon and 6 p.m. Do some form of exercise each day. Start reading the labels on the foods you are eating and eat things that have the least amount of additives. Big pun passed. We didn't take heed. Nate Dogg had 2 strokes. Not much was said. When we lost Jay Dilla, finally people started to show some concern. When Fife Dog exposed his battle with diabetes, people began to realize that there is an issue. But still, no one has effectively challenged our generation on a widespread scale to reclaim our wellness at every level. Today, I challenge every one of you to stand up and take charge of your own health. We've just lost Guru and Nate Dogg. The entire hip hop community is in mourning. Let's take this opportunity to seize the time before we find ourselves back here again with the next artist or family member dying too early and too soon. What's his name? Black Panther. In the midst of the street beefs, egoism, misogyny, disunity, and materialism, I call for unity amongst us all on the issue of survival and health. It's about time that we get sick and tired of being sick and tired and do something. In the memory of Guru, let's all get gangstar for our health and wellness. Salute. Supernova Slum, the hip hop medicine man. So, originator of the hip hop meditation ciphers, members of Bill Cosby's hip hop project, the Cosnarati and founder of Unify the Hood, Heal the Hood. Supernova Slum is a galvanizing force for today's youth and beyond. In early 2010, he released his first book entitled The Remedy, the 5-week power plan to detox your system, combat the fat, and rebuild your mind and body, and simultaneously released his album, also entitled The Remedy, which features Erykah Badu, Jadakiss, and The Game. Supernova is currently completing his second documentary, Holistic Wellness for Hip Hop Generation Part 2, and has recently launched his own wellness supplement line, Superfoods. Peace, peace. I am reading from this book called The Hood Health Handbook. I thought I saw a comment come up. I don't know how it went away. Okay, live chat. Yes, hello, hello, peace, peace. Yeah, I'm up late reading, and I'm about to be fasting today. And it's summer is approaching. I like to do my juice cleanses and fast. I bought some soursop juice today. I know I'll be doing watermelon cleanses. I'm in the garden a lot, so I'm sweating a lot. Peace, everybody joining in. What y'all doing up so late? Hey y'all. So yeah, so I was just wanting to read this the Hood Health Handbook, and basically it's an anthology. It's a bunch of different authors um, that have wrote something, and collectively it was put in this book. So here we go to the next part. So that was just, I don't know what that was. So we had the forward by Dick Gregory. Now we just had, like, I guess part of the intro, and now here's the actual intro. What you need, why you need a book like this. Health is wealth. State of affairs in the urban community. We're sick. We're dying. And we need answers, insight, and practical solutions. We need ways that will work, and they exist. But we've got to start with what's kept us from finding these answers till now. Let's be real. We can't talk about health in urban communities without coming to grips with a few basic things. First of all, urban community is just a nice way of saying the hood. And by the hood, we really mean poor black and brown folk. And when we talk about health among poor black and brown folk, we can't approach it the same way we would for another group of people, except maybe middle class black and brown people, since they're just as sick. But the bottom line is that there's no way to separate race and health when you look at the outcomes. Blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans have the highest rates of cancer, diabetes, heart disease, blood pressure, asthma, lead poisoning, reproductive damage, nutritional deficiency, food allergies, post traumatic stress disorder, teen suicide, sleep paralysis, gonorrhea, syphilis, herpes, Alzheimer's disease. Come on, son, you name it. So, what makes you think that the causes are different? And what do blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans have in common besides the fact that most of us live in the hood or barrio or reservation, but it's all the hood? Let's keep it simple. If white people conquered our country, put you in slavery, and or stripped you of your culture, religion, language, values, institutions, etc., what makes you think they want you healthy and strong now? Go into the hood or the barrio, and you are going to get bombarded with the same images. It's unmistakable. Everywhere you go, you will find the original people, otherwise known as people of color or indigenous people, in their own Great Depression. A depression isn't limited to the lack of economic opportunities. Depression is the condition describing all of those things that together cause our people to be unable to operate to the best of our ability. Health is wealth, and we're more than financially poor. We're afflicted with health poverty. I'm trying to see, I'm reading in some of these footnotes. They have different numbers beside some of the things that I'm reading, so I'm trying to read on the bottom. Not an exaggeration. All claims in this book are based on published studies and research. Don't get it twisted. If you think you're not in this group, it's a well documented fact that even so called middle class blacks and Latinos are not living the American dream at any level close to their white peers. Not to mention the fact that since our wealth is rarely generational, we're always a step away from being back in poverty. And in fact, many of our children end up poor no matter how much money we thought we were making. Not to mention that an I'm not ghetto distinction makes no sense for this book since middle class blacks and Latinos are nearly just as sick as poor blacks and Latinos thanks to similar diets, similar lifestyles, and similar lack of access to adequate health care. Never forget where you come from, homie, because life has a hell of a way of reminding you. Okay. So back to up here. Health is wealth, and we're more than financially poor. We're afflicted with health poverty. Why this book was written. A bunch of us got together and decided that we needed to let people know that they don't need to be sick. You don't need a bunch of pills just to get through the day. You don't need to be poor and sick. Let's keep this conversation 100% authentic. Ever since white people have forced themselves into the societies of original people via colonialism, imperialism, and slavery, they have been jacking up our health for the worst. The best example of this can be seen in the way we eat. The standard American diet, or the SAD diet, is the accumulation of white invasion. It is a diet that has you gobbling pork and beef like it's going out of fashion. But it's bigger than food. It's not just our eating habits that have been devastated. An invasion implies that the whole landscape has been affected. We have become products of our environments rather than the producers of our environment. Just open your eyes to every hood. USA, and give us your honest opinion on the quality of the environment. There's a lack of basic resources like quality housing, affordable and healthy foods, access to community based resources, and quality education. Okay, hold on, let me go ahead and read the footnote. Throughout this book, original will be used synonymously with black or African American or as an umbrella term covering black, Latino, and Native American and other indigenous populations. While the use of the term original to cover such a diverse population is not widely accepted, we argue that there's no other word that captures the we argue that hold on, where I go. While the use of the term original to cover such a diverse population is not widely accepted, we argue that there is no other word that captures the deep commonality of people of color worldwide without somehow being a subtle reference to a white or European standard. For example, people of color suggests that the norm is actually people without color, or just as minorities suggest that original people are somehow not in the majority worldwide. Similarly, non white suggests that the standard is white and everything else is other and thus secondary. It is our argument that the world's first people, anthropologically known as indigenous people, may have been geographically separated and culturally distinct, but were never collectively oppressed, forcibly marginalized, and systematically set at odds with each other, creating the present need for collective identity until Europeans distinguished themselves as white and thus different and went to work throughout the world, completely changing our paradigms of identity and ideology. Ooh, he's saying a mouthful. Okay. All right, so back to this last sentence. But it's bigger than food. It's not just our eating habits that have been devastated. An invasion implies that the whole landscape has been affected. We have become products of our environment rather than the producers of our environment. Y'all, do y'all understand how important that is? Being a product of your environment versus being a producer. We're too dependent on them, on the system, on people that oppress us, and we gotta get past that. So I think that's why spirit led me to this book. My roommate Ben had it, but it's just something about the here and now. We got lunar eclipse coming up, we got full moons coming up, we got summer coming up. My spirit, I've been trying to eat even the banana blossoms that are, it's a vegan dish that I made that's like a fried fish substitute for the vegans. I can't even eat certain things that are fried now because my taste buds is totally reacting. Why does YouTube do this? It'll like let me see the comment briefly, but I like the term original. I do too. Original Afrocentric design by Lisa. You do like the term original, Lisa. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I do too, because that's what it is. But yeah, guys, we have to become we have to stop being products of our environment and start becoming producers of our environment. So one of the best ways to be able to do that, grow your own garden. And I've been sharing my journey with you all. I've been sharing resources. I'm doing gardening challenges. It's all kind of, I'm not the only source. I'm still new at gardening, but just getting started. You can grow in your house through hydroponics. You can grow your herbs and mints. You can get a tower garden and grow, more stuff. You can do container gardening if you like only have patio space, meaning you can plant in the little big bins you get to put your clothes in for the wintertime from Dollar Tree, or you could get actual flower pots. You can get laundry baskets, grow potatoes in. There's so many ways to use what we have to be more self-sustainable. Because if shit hits the fan, y'all saw what happened in the pandemic. Stores was closed. It was all kind of stuff going on. So if we're dependent on people outside of ourselves, outside of our community to take care of us, we're fucked. We're fucked. So I'm looking at my Facebook up here, and my YouTube is down here, so that original, I see you out there. All right, moving on. So we have become the products of our environment rather than the producers of our environment. Just open your eyes to every hood USA and give us your honest opinion on the quality of the environment. There's a lack of basic resources like quality housing, affordable and healthy foods, access to community-based resources, and quality education. This is a quote by Buddha. Every human being is the author of his own health or disease. This book was written because in order for us to make it anywhere, we'll need a roadmap and a blueprint. The roadmap will show us the way, and the blueprint will instruct us how to build a community once we get there. Our goal is to take us from basically nothing to everything. And until now, many of those who have tried to lead the people in the right direction have found the people reluctant, to say the least. Getting getting healthy is too hard, they say. Getting healthy is too expensive is another common complaint excuse. We understand all the complaints, and in many cases we agree. Getting healthy is certainly no walk in the park, although walks in the park can be part of getting healthy. But we've worked overtime to make this roadmap as easy to follow as possible. We've also worked to show where we came from and how far we've come, to explain that we need only to observe the meaning of the West African proverb Sankofa, which means to go back home and fetch it. We're not going anywhere new by living healthy. We're simply going back to being ourselves. Mm. See, because let's be really real, right? For those that still adhere to the Christian doctrine or read the Bible or whatever, think back to those days. We was eating millet and barley and spelt and all the ancient grains, so we were healthy. It really took them colonizing and doing all this stuff and whatever their diets was. So like our soul food, we know the whole backstory with the chitlins and us getting pig scraps and taking something and making nothing and making something out of it. We get that, but then it's like, dairy is a huge disadvantage to us. I know I get eczema outbreaks. I get inflamed real bad, but I do love. I ain't gonna say I love. Let me change my relationship in my mind about it. I have been addicted to and enjoyed eating the mac and cheeses, cheese in general by itself on some crackers, some sour cream, some ice cream. That dairy didn't had a hold on me, baby. So I get it. I definitely get it. But we have to think this was not a part of our original diet, our original palate. We've come to learn to love these things. We can make some bomb ass recipes out of it. I feel like you give a black person a recipe for anything. The right black person, not all black people can cook, but the right black person, and we can make something out. We can make the pies and cakes and steaks and everything taste like something. Because meat don't taste like nothing till you season it and cook it. It don't taste like nothing we want to eat. We ain't eating it raw. So it ain't until you really put them herbs and seasonings on it and put that thing in the oven that it marinate and get all that goodness in it. So we just have to learn how to apply that to our vegetables. And although I'm on a plant-based journey, I don't expect everybody to stop eating meat. It's about balance. It's about moderation, period. No matter your diet and lifestyle, whether you're a meat eater or not, if you're not ever detoxing or fasting or getting fresh fruit and vegetables in you and juices, and all you consume is the standard American diet as far as fried, dyed, laid to the side, chips and alcohol and all of that, your system it's not going to do what you needed to do. And we have to stop waiting to get older to get sick and have our children and family members depending on them to help us out because that ain't it. We should be thriving in our 50s, 60s, 70s. We don't have to be bent over and hurting and dealing with some of the things that we deal with. It just takes a mindset shift. It takes being proactive about, like I said, I'm on my journey. I know I'm fasting. Things come to you, people, resources, books. We just got to eliminate the excuses. Hey, Rashawn, that part will make everything taste good. Will make everything taste good. So that's what I try to encourage people with plant based eating. Just try it. Just season the vegetables like you would whatever. You okay? No, we're not gonna use the turkey or the pork fat when we cook these greens and cabbage. But I'm gonna chop up some onions. I'm gonna use some veggie bouillon cubes. Now, granted, if you want to be super particular, we may not know all the ingredients in the veggie bouillon cubes, but for the time being, it's gonna suffice. And if I don't want to use those, if I really want to be a stickler about being alkaline or being about my health, then just use the natural herbs and spices. Keep it simple. All right, let me keep it pushing. Um, where we at? Excuse me. Getting healthy is hard. Go back home and fetch it. By living healthy, we're simply going back to being ourselves. The simple beauty of this whole journey is that we have the answer. We've always had the answer. Your grandparents and great grandparents were the answer. Your grandparents and great grandparents were the answers. The traditions of your ancestors are the answers. Learning about your body and being able to listen to its messages is the answer. But you've got to start asking questions before you find the answers. Resurrection. People are dying. More precisely, people simply aren't living. Our communities are in a state of depression and shock. Many of us are literally like zombies. We go through the motions, yet we rarely make much out of our lives. And what do zombies do? They stink. They look a hot mess. They sometimes lose body parts and they can't keep up with people who are living. Sounds like a lot of us. As Marvin Gaye observed in What's Going On, what most of us are doing ain't living. When a dying man cries, it is not because of where he is going, which he knows nothing about, but because of what he wishes he would have done in the world he is leaving behind. That's an African proverb. The destruction of our hoods has resulted in a fracturing of community. Without that unity, we keep spiraling down a hole where we all become self centered predators, not caring about one another. Child, if I hear people say, not my business, mind my business one more time, to an extent, I get it, but also no. We got to look out for one another, and some stuff is our business. If I see this, I have teacher friends, I've been in the school system, and I would see certain things and I hear certain things now. It's just like, that's our business. If the child is suddenly not showing up to school it has been seen sparingly, but not enough, and none of his uh parent teachers have made a comment about this, but one teacher takes note that the student is rarely here, that's our business. If we notice that someone is looking more ragged and starved and maybe their behavior is um, reflecting what they may potentially be having going on at home, that's our business. If we see, are you on Facebook Live and YouTube? Yes, I am. I said that a few times. That's why I'm looking up and down. I sure am. Um, yeah, so like that's our business. And when we see Nana and Big Mama and them getting obese and unhealthy, that's our business too. Okay. Now some people don't want you in their business. They don't want to make you a part of their business. They're not trying to shift um, you know, how they eat and what they're doing. And so that is their business. But in the grand scheme of things, I don't agree with that mind my business thing because no, we are each other's business, and we need to make that apparent. And we need to stop doing things like being predators and endangering one another. None of this is acceptable. So, back to what I was saying. The destruction of our hoods has resulted in a fracturing of community. Without that unity, we keep spiraling down a hole where we all become self-centered predators, not caring about one another, much like the people who put us in these miserable conditions. This is also basically what a dead people will do. And when this happens, everybody suffers. Look at your own suffering right now and imagine how it could be alleviated by simply by adding one more person to your team to go through the struggle with you. Then you too add one more, and then one more, and so on. Think of everything that you could accomplish with a community of people dedicated to a common cause. The way to develop a community is through the common language and culture of mental and physical health and well being. Before healing others, heal yourself. That's a Gambian proverb. Our personal health is just the beginning. Once we are on that road to healing, since you're never truly done, then we can begin to heal our communities. And if we keep it moving, guess what? We might just end up healing the world. Is this book for you? If you can answer yes to any of these questions, this book is for you. Had a parent die from a health condition that I don't want to die from. I want practical advice on how I can lose weight without a crazy diet. I need to know how to eat healthier, but on a budget. I want to improve myself, but I hate reading boring books that don't speak to me. I want to know about all the illnesses, from diabetes to gum disease, experienced by people in the hip hop industry. I've heard there are natural treatments and cures for cancer, heart disease, and other major illnesses, and I want to know more. I want to know why Black and Latino people have more illnesses than anyone else. I've heard that pork is terrible for you, but I need some proof. I want to know if I can handle becoming a vegetarian. I want to know how to become healthy without becoming a vegetarian. I've heard you can use herbs for just about anything. I want to know how. I can't find any information on psychological health that speaks to me and my background. I want to know why I'm addicted to junk food. I've heard that they put chemicals in fast food, and I want to know why. I need ideas on how to help keep my home clean, and I don't have much time or money to spend. I need help on making sure my children grow up healthy. I don't want to be sick like so many other people in my family. Okay, so this book applies to me, and I should read it because I don't want to be sick like so many other people in my family. What this book is not. This book is a lot of things, and it will definitely reach different people in different ways. But there are some things this book is certainly not. This book is not only for people who are already healthy. There are a lot of health books, especially natural and holistic titles, that don't address the way most of us are living right now. Instead, they preach to the choir, talking only to readers who are already on the right path. Not this book. This book is not a guide on how to take your medicine. It's fairly easy to see that more medicine hasn't made our people more healthy. Instead of promoting the Western medicine model, diagnosis of symptoms, to prescription of chemicals, we're going to show you how to prevent sickness and how to heal without the chemicals, which actually make us sicker. This book is not a diet and weight loss book. Our health problems are deeper than obesity. While it's good to be in shape, we're not going to teach you how to starve yourself to do so. We're also not going to promote the idea that a skinny person is healthy just because you are skinny. Holistic health means everything. Um, this book is not super holistic, supernatural, and super difficult. Our books are written to address the needs of people who normally don't enjoy books about health, so we're not going to promote a lifestyle that is unrealistic for many of our readers. Our goal is to provide practical, sensible advice that almost anyone can use. Along the way, we'll throw in more challenging concepts here and there to keep things interesting. This book is not medical advice, replacing that of a professional or meant to diagnose you. We're not trying to pass ourselves off as doctors giving you medical advice. We are simply providing information that you can take into consideration when you make your lifestyle decisions. If you have a condition requiring serious or immediate attention, then by all means seek out a professional you trust. Race specific. This book is not race specific. The topics addressed in this book focus on Black and Latino people, but many of the health issues we talk about are relevant to just about anyone interested in improving their health. That means you don't need to be Black or Latino to benefit from this book. This book is not class specific. Similarly, you don't need to live in the hood to benefit from this book. This book is not a bunch of opinions. We are not quacks with crazy ideas. We have spent countless hours making sure that our information and recommendations are research based as often as possible. We've drawn on clinical studies and medical journals to develop our positions. When we came across an idea that sounded good but had no evidence to support it, we refused to publish it. This book is not a scientific journal. At the same time, we have avoided including hundreds of footnotes and citations throughout the text. We have simplified the language to the point where everyone can read it without a dictionary on hand, though it wouldn't hurt. Our goal is to make this information accessible, not to sound smarter than everyone else. This book is not a what you're doing wrong lecture. We're not here to make you feel bad. While the hood is certainly very sick, nothing is hopeless. We're more interested in providing an easy recommendation for change than harassing readers about mistakes they've made. This book isn't a change everything now or die sermon. Revolutionary change is a process, not a one time event. It made more sense to promote one step at a time than to tell you to change everything immediately. This book is not a walk in the park. In spite of all the above, this book will challenge you mentally and physically. It will challenge your preconceived notions and your current lifestyle choices. And the truth might hurt occasionally because without pain, there's no real growth. We promise it will be worth it. What's up with the wellness thing? Oh, yeah, that. We almost didn't put the word wellness in the subtitle of this book. Sounds kind of a new age, we thought. Hold on. Y'all did. Oh, the Hood Health Book, a practical guide to health and wellness in the urban community. Okay. So, oh yeah, we almost didn't put the word wellness in the subtitle of this book. Sounds kind of new age, we thought. People will think we're pushing something weird and expensive instead of something practical and affordable. But we kept the word because wellness has a meaning that's worth keeping. Wellness means more than just being in a state of good health. Wellness is being on the road to getting there. And wellness is things that the doctor often can't measure. As I see it, every day you do one of two things: build health or produce disease in yourself. Adele Davis. According to John Travis, author of The Wellness Index, wellness is not a static state. High level wellness involves giving good care to your physical self, using your mind constructively, expressing your emotions effectively, being creatively involved with those around you, and being concerned about your physical, psychological, and spiritual environments. He goes on to explain that it doesn't matter what side of the healthy unhealthy spectrum a person is on, but which direction they are facing. To wish to be well is a part of becoming well. Seneca, ancient Roman philosopher. So, how do we know where we're at or where we're going on the road to wellness or the road away from it? Simple. Take every test, quiz, and questionnaire in this book. Read every article to see where you fall in terms of your daily practices. This book is the first comprehensive guide to health in the urban community because it covers nearly every aspect of health and wellness. When you're done with these two volumes, you'll know exactly where you stand and where to go from there. Then you can set your goals and move fast or slow. But the critical first step is knowledge. And once you know, wisdom and wellness follow. He who has health has hope. He who has hope has everything. That's an Arabian proverb. How to read this book. Hold on. Did I miss something? Okay, so it be having little footnotes and I missed it. So when I was up here and I said, he goes on to explain that it doesn't matter what side of the healthy, unhealthy spectrum a person is on, but which direction they are facing. At the bottom for that footnote, it says, as holistic health writer Gretchen Gold writes, if a person is currently suffering with cancer, he or she can be moving forward or backward depending on their daily practices. They can decide to do chemotherapy and continue the same poor diet and health practices they had prior to diagnosis. The person may have decided in their mind that death is imminent. And some people do think that. They just think you're supposed to get old, get sick, get cancer, get chemo, die. Like, we don't even think to think ourselves into wellness sometimes, or to take actions to do something different. We'll just keep eating and doing the same thing that got us in gastric bypass surgery and think that life goes on. This book is here to teach you otherwise. Um, So the person may have decided in their mind that death is imminent. This would cause the person to continue to move backwards toward increased ill health and ultimately death. Whereas a person who decides they want to be well can move forward on the continuum. Their daily choices might look like this: eating a diet of mostly raw fruits and vegetables, excuse me, exercising daily, practicing meditation and positive thinking, getting 8 or more hours of sound sleep daily. All right, so how to read this book. You can start from the beginning and work your way to the end, or you can find interesting headings in the table of contents and hop around from essay to essay. This book can be read in any order. When you come across a word you don't know, first see if you can figure out the meaning based on the rest of the sentence. If not, the word may be defined in the glossary in the appendix of this book. If it's not there either, grab a dictionary or go to dictionary.com. You can also find basic definitions at medicaldictionary.com. The same goes for any person, place, event, or idea that's new to you. We don't want you to simply believe us. Look it up. If you don't feel like grabbing a book, you can start at wikipedia.org, webmd.com, healthabout.com, or one of the many other websites we suggest in the book. Bring it with you wherever you go. Instead of smoking a cigarette or text messaging when you're bored or waiting for something, read. Find a partner or two who can get a copy of the book to read as well. When you meet, talk about what you've been reading and what you think about it. The best preservative to keep the mind on health is the faithful admonition of a friend. Sir Francis Bacon. Don't get overwhelmed. All this information can be difficult for someone who thinks they have to start changing everything all at once. As we said earlier, optimal health is a path, not a destination. Take notes, highlight, circle important sections, but only if this is your book. Otherwise, the owner's going to be pissed. Work to understand. It's my roommate book, so I better not. But she wouldn't mind probably, but I better not. Work to understand every idea that is discussed in this book. If you can do that, we guarantee that you'll know more than the average pre-med student. We didn't make everything easy. Some of this book is written in very simple language that anyone can understand, dealing with basic issues like weight loss. Other parts are more challenging, dealing with issues like herbal treatments for OCD. If this book didn't challenge every reader somehow, we wouldn't be proud to present it to the public. Above all, the single most important thing you can do with this book is apply what you learn. We cover everything from the low end to the high end so everyone can start using something in this book to improve their lives. The key isn't to do it all at once or even to do it all, period, but to begin the process of doing something you haven't done before. That's all it takes. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. Let me reiterate the last point. There are some parts of this book that will totally blow you away. You'll be feeling dusted and disgusted. You'll feel like you can't do anything because everything out there is unhealthy. Don't fall victim to that kind of thinking. The goal, again, is simply to start doing better. Just start, y'all. We just got to start. We got to stop making excuses. Just start, and to constantly be doing the best you currently can. Meaning, for example, you know that canned food ain't that good for you, but eating canned vegetables is better than no vegetables. Hip hop and health. Why use hip hop as a reference point? Why not? Hip hop is a reflection of the state of the urban black and brown community in America. In fact, it's just as sick as we are, and in more ways than one. Beyond your personal taste in music, the people who make up this industry are a diverse reflection of the people who make up our communities. They are not something other than us. As a result, they're sick, like us. Using them as reference points makes it easier for us to show you that these issues aren't rare disorders you only see on TV. So, although it may not be obvious, hip hop and health go hand in hand. While only a few big artists are brave enough to make songs addressing health issues, KRS-One, Dead Prez, Prodigy, Wu-Tang Clan, etc., that doesn't keep the rest of them from having the health issues that don't rap about. They don't rap about. Life threatening health issues are everywhere in the hip hop community, and we've lost enough artists to know that the situation is serious. Just look at the following timeline of notable losses. In 1989, on September 8th, 1989, Cowboy, Grandmaster Flash, and the Furious Five died of complications from HIV and AIDS. He was 2 weeks shy of his 39th birthday. Dang. 1991, MC Trouble, the first female MC ever signed to Motown Records, died of an epileptic seizure in 1991 on her 19th birthday. Ooh, I gotta look her up. Dang. Never heard of her. In 1995, Eazy-E entered the hospital with what he believed to be bronchitis. He was diagnosed with AIDS and almost immediately announced his illness to the public. He died soon after on March 26, 1995. On December 10th, 1995, Darren Buffy, the human beatbox Robinson of the Fat Boys, died of a heart attack in Rosedale, New York. He was 28 years old and reportedly 450 pounds. 2000, after a long battle with morbid obesity, Big Pun suffered a fatal heart attack and respiratory failure on February 7, 2000. Pun, the first solo Latino rapper to go platinum, was only 28 years old and at least 450 pounds. He left behind a wife and three children. In April 1999, Grim Reaper, aka Too Poetic of the Grave Diggers, was diagnosed with a deadly colon cancer and was given only 3 months to live. On July 15th, Grim Reaper passed away, almost 2 years younger than the time he was given by the doctor. Oh, excuse me, almost 2 years longer than what he was given. Old Dirty Bastard collapsed at approximately 5:29 p.m. on November 13, 2004 at Wu-Tang's recording studio. He was pronounced dead less than an hour later and only 2 days shy of his 36th birthday. He had a lethal mixture of cocaine and the prescription painkiller tramadol in his system at the time of death. On February 10th, 2006, producer Jay Dilla of Slum Village passed away from cardiac arrest following a battle with from thrombotic what? With throm, thrombocytopenic purpura, a rare blood disease, and lupus. Pimp C died on December 4th, 2007, after suffering respiratory depression caused by the combined effects of him taking a large dose of promethazine and codeine prescription cough syrup, coupled with a pre-existing sleep apnea condition. Dang, with that sleep apnea, you be having to wear a machine, or else you really gonna die. My mother has sleep apnea, and I hate it for her. And I tell her, Mom, you're gonna have to detox or cleanse. It's the dairy. She loves ice cream and cheese and stuff too. And I'm like, Mom, it's really that mucus. Because at one point she had something bronchial going on, and she went and got some acupuncture, and that helped clear her out. But I'm like, Ma, you don't have to depend on this breathing machine at night. I mean, she do in a sense because she'll stop breathing, but it's like we could get you. But I have to focus on me because that'd be my problem. Trying to focus on other people. I've told her that I would try to help her, and she would kind of get discouraged. It's like she felt like she was still always hungry. It was nothing that she couldn't eat with us taking away all the unhealthy things that she eat. And I get that. Like when you have a diet filled with a whole bunch of bullshit and then somebody is telling you to come in with a more plant-based diet, just eating more fruits and vegetables, and really that's it. People be big. They be like, "Wait, what? What am I going to eat?" Some vegetables and some fruit and some juices and some detox teas and herbs and cleanse yourself. Cause it's the parasites that's talking. It's the parasites that got you messed up. It really do. Queensbridge rapper KL of Screwball died of an asthma attack on March 28, 2008. Queensbridge rapper Killer Shah died from diabetes complications January 18, 2010. Flavor Unit MC Apache, known best for his single Gangsta Bitch, passed away January 22nd, 2010 after battling an undisclosed protracted illness. On February 28th, 2010, Guru went into cardiac arrest and following surgery fell into a coma. He died on April 19th, 2010 at the age of 43 from multiple myeloma, a form of cancer. Mm. The 23 keys to health and wellness. Your health is the most important thing you possess. There are 23 keys to health and wellness that one should keep in mind regardless of race, creed, class, or environment. The articles in this book are written around these core principles, so you'll find yourself revisiting these ideas as you read. One, the traditional lifestyle of original people, otherwise known as indigenous or people of color, all over the planet, were always in tune with their environment, even if they lived in cities. Two, optimal physical health requires a nutritious diet, avoidance of toxins and other stressors that cause disease, and life's essentials. clean water, clean air, sunlight, exercise, and rest. Deficiency in any area causes most of the health problems we experience. Three, the eating practices of original slash indigenous slash people of color all over the planet lean toward diets that will focus on vegetables, fruits, grains, legumes, and other plant based foods. The consumption of meat has traditionally been a minor, if at all, part of the diets of original people. Four, you can eat some meat and still be pretty healthy, but not if you are eating standard American diet amounts of it, or eating the chemical and parasite filled kind we find in most grocers. And that's my stance on it too, because I understand not everybody gonna be vegan or plant based. I'm against the mass production and killing of animals and how they do it, because that's energy. A lot of these animals are scared, are being harmed and hurt prior to being slaughtered just for our consumption. So I don't really appeal to that. But if it's, a smaller scale farm where the animals, they have open range to be free and breathe, and then you come together and decide, okay, this animal needs to be utilized for eating purposes, then you go about killing it that way. But not this super inhumane way of how we do it for mass production, just so people can be gluttonous. Like, I don't think that's cool. Okay, number five, clean on the inside, clean on the outside. We should be free of nastiness and parasites inside our body, and this cleanliness should be reflected on our exterior as well. With healthy practices, we won't need to depend on artificial cosmetic processes and products to feel attractive. And because we live in a toxic environment, it's important to fast and cleanse our internal systems regularly, no matter what kind of diet we're on. Okay? Chemtrails, gas, pollution, all of these things. Even if you're the healthiest vegan of vegans, still got to be fasting, cleansing, and detoxing, because it's stuff all around us that we can't get away from. Number six, Western culture through white supremacy, slavery, genocide, colonialism, terrorism initiated the current downward spiral of sickness and disease amongst original indigenous people all over the planet. Let's be clear. We wasn't eating this terrible back home and prior to slavery. We wasn't. Seven, white supremacy is anti-life. Through their doctrine of manifest destiny, they seek to be the ultimate consumers, devourers, users, conquerors, with no thought as to how resources are to be renewed in the environment. Number eight, original people don't need the help of white people to assist in the recovery of their health and wellness. The way that most health conscious, liberal white people approach our community is patronizing at best. It's just another manifestation of colonization. Also, in actuality, their information and resources about a holistic way of life were taught to them by original and indigenous people. Nine, we are not anti Western medicine, yet we do reserve the right to critique it and take only the best part that benefits our communities. 10. Too much of anything is no good. Some things are more dangerous in their excess than in their lack. Others, vice versa. For example, too much salt is more dangerous than too little, but too little vitamin A is more dangerous than too much. Number 11, at least 75% of disease is nutritional, either in terms of how disease is developed or how it could have been prevented. Junk food, fried food, red meat, and other popular foods are killing you slowly. 12, eating dead, burnt, toxic, chemically altered, genetically tampered, and or inorganic matter leads to obvious consequences. 13, everything that tastes good for you is not good for you. Yet we eat these things because certain ingredients in our food can be as addictive as hard drugs. And that is so true. There's salt and sugar in just about everything. I'll be reading some of these, even with the vegan and plant based. Less is best. One of my vegan chefs at my vegan market taught me that less is best. Even some of these vegan things that'll have certain ingredients and ingredients you can't name, don't know. And it's just like salt and sugar be in a lot of stuff. So that's why a lot of us have a hard time transitioning and trying to do better and eat better, because we're addicted, and that's why we'll defend it. We'll get upset when people talk about us being fat and obese and this and this and that. We would defend it with our right. Well, it's all these other things that contribute. Yeah, those have some things. Those tie into it too. But we have the ability to control our diet and what we consume. And so, although there may be some difficulties, just focusing on the problem and not the solution doesn't help either. How can I find better ways to eat? How can I transition my diet to more holistic approach? Uh, and again, I'm going to always encourage having a garden because that'll cut down at least 50% of your grocery bill as far as the produce goes. So, um, 14, you can also overuse or abuse parts of your body, particularly the organs that are in place to clean and filter your system. I guess he's talking about drinking. When you overload these organs with toxins, they eventually shut down and disease emerges. 15, whenever a part of your body, such as a muscle, is not in use, it atrophies, meaning it dies. People who are not physically fit die sooner than those who are. 16, losing weight is not about dieting, but about changing your habits. By eating right and exercising, it's easy to lose any amount of weight you desire. 17, hospitals, doctors, drug companies, and the whole industry of Western medicine is a big business. We understand that its goal is to maximize profits and that they may go against the goal of healing the people. 18. Healing and wellness must be holistic. It is mental and physical, the individual and the environment. 19. Healing starts where you are at. It took you years, months, and days to get to your current state of dysfunction and will take an equal amount of time to rise up out of it. Utilize the resources right around you, realizing that health and wellness is a journey and not a destination. 20. One of the most powerful elements of health and wellness is preventative medicine. 21. Children preventative medicine, I took that to mean like, getting your herbal teas and your smoothies, your diet, your exercise. You help prevent some things. You don't have to worry about getting sick because you staying on top of it. And even if you do get sick, you know ways to help get yourself back out of it. 21. Children are born with all the stress and toxins we put in our systems, even those from before they were conceived. Whatever they see us eating and doing, they will also want to eat and do. But children are more susceptible to toxins in the environment as well as those in the foods we eat. In order to keep them healthy, we have to be healthy. 22. Get your mind right. Mental and emotional health is as important, if not more important, than physical health. Without a sound mind, it does us no good to have a sound body. But mind and body are interdependent, so living healthier can have us thinking and feeling better. 23. When you heal yourself, you'll in effect be healing the hood because people gonna watch. All right, so I'm gonna end right there. Um, I hope that this was interesting, insightful, informative, whatever these things. I may or may not come back with this. I ain't about to lie to y'all and make no promises. I just, like I said, I was up late. I took a nap in the sun in my garden today after I got done with my work for the day. And it felt so good, so I just had energy and I was up and I saw this book on the table. And my roommate and I have been talking about it and I have yet to read it. So, it's 1:11. This is a good time to stop. So I appreciate y'all for tuning in, and I'll be tuning in with y'all again soon. Peace. Appreciate the support. Yes. All right. Good night, y'all.